we've had relationships with plants that's how we've evolved as a species. It's deeply in our DNA that we used to go around and be like, oh, this plant is for my headache. Oh, this plant is going to help this woman delivering a baby. So we used to just have this intuitive knowledge based off of hundreds of thousands of years of experience. It's only been like the last 100 years we've gotten super disconnected because of the pharmaceutical industry and industrial revolution. So I am like trying to keep that coding in our DNA alive and trying to activate that and reactivate that and help people remember that.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
She's ready. All right, you guys, welcome to the Dreamrun podcast. I'm your host, Chase. Today we got Nadia Ramos here, a.k.a. Dr. Bones, in the house. Welcome.
Thank you.
To the Dreamrun pod.
Yeah, stoked to be here.
Yeah, super excited. Highly anticipated guest right here. Came all the way down the hill from Topanga. Came strapped with the tea. Why don't we start with that? What are we drinking today?
We're drinking Gynostemma with cracked reishi spore powder. So all about longevity, immortality, consciousness, and anchoring the spirit deep into the heart to make your spirit feel grounded. Wow.
Okay, there's going to be a lot to unpack on this, you guys. You're a doctor of Chinese medicine.
Great.
Okay, acupuncturist. Mm-hmm. And I want to say your main focus is all centered around plants and their medicinal properties.
Yeah.
Herbs, plants, etc. You also are experienced with yoga, Reiki, and another focus of yours right now, psychedelic therapy, journeys, coaching people.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
was
wow.
Like right on.
Just crushing it. And actually asked her to come on prior to remembering that she grew up surfing in Leucadia, my hometown in Encinitas, surfing at Beacons Beach.
Yeah. I grew up in PB, but
right.
Once I got my driver's license, I was going up to Encinitas all the time, surfing Beacons, Grandview, D Street, Cardiff.
Yeah, that's my zone. So like, yeah, I mean, we're kind of like primarily been talking about surfing, but it's just kind of whatever at this point.
Yeah.
But like, I do want to ask you about it because I met your dad. It's not what you think. No.
Yeah, we met at a family affair.
At a family, your sister's
party.
company party.
Yeah.
I was invited to through a friend, and your dad was there.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, we could do like 20 minutes on that guy. He's fucking legend. Like, I still think about him from time to time, and I still have a photo of us just vibing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, your dad's like an immigrant from Syria, right? Mm-hmm. So, surfing, was it from your mom, or where did that come from?
Yeah, my mom in her 40s decided to do surf lessons. She was just, the ocean was calling her. She wanted to have a deeper connection with it, and she started going, got bit by the bug, and was like, I was a pretty wild kid, and she's like, you need to come surfing. And so then my mom actually got me surf lessons through Encinitas Surf Shop.
Got it.
And so Beacons was the first place I ever stood up on a board.
Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, my dad owned a surf shop for years and started in Cardiff, then went out to Escondido. But I mean, yeah, Encinitas surfboards, like those are some of my dad's like best homies, like back in the 80s and 90s. Like, used to golf with all those guys. Like, I go in there and they still, like, you know, I'm still that little kid to them.
Totally.
You know, it's all the same guys. It's crazy.
Doug is the one. Doug is who gave me my first lesson.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah.
Doug and Carol.
Oh man, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Beacons is also low key, low tide.
I mean, but have you been there lately? Like, Leucadia is just so weird now.
It's weird now. Yeah, it's like Sprinter vans.
Right. There's all that, but the sand is like, I don't know if you. The sand is super weird. Like, there's a bunch of rocks. Like, it's kind of gone to shit. But
yeah. But that little inside on low tides where I got my first barrel.
No shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that or not. No, I'm just kidding.
It was like a micro, like shampoo, but like in the pocket.
Yeah, no. So there's one photo of you on your IG. You're like fully perched, like pretty sick hang five. You're a goofy footer. Yeah. But what's up with, like, I mean, you don't really surf, right? Do you surf? I mean, anymore?
Yeah, I go out at Topanga.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I go out at Topanga. Or I also have clients in Ventura. So
Okay.
I love C Street now.
Okay.
I mean, my backside since moving to LA has gotten like real swifty.
Right, because all the points, it's all right
Yeah.
point breaks.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I go out. I have like phases where I'm going out every fucking day, and then
Oh, really?
and then and then I just get busy doing other things, and then I don't go for a month.
Being under an oak tree for 7 hours.
Under oak trees, yeah, man. The morning practice. It's like the beauty about surfing is that it's the best, and then but also kind of. I feel like the shadow side of surfing is it can sort of take over, and then it's like all I'm doing is surfing, and then I feel like other parts of my life are like getting underdeveloped because surfing just will trump everything.
Yo.
I feel like too, a lot of my friends I grew up with, it's like you get so surf stoked that you're stoked living in like some shitty apartment because you're just catching some dope waves and like
yeah.
And then I feel like the beauty of me stepping away from surfing was to like pursue other things and find other passions, and like it's benefited me. Not saying that that's for everybody,
right?
But
no, I've had to experience that in like different periods of my life as well, and one of those times is a little bit right now where you know, like surfing has given me so much joy, and like last year I accomplished a lot of things as far as just bucket list items, you know, like got a big day at Waimea, like
that's important.
Well, yeah.
That's important.
So important, right? But yeah, I get that. I've had to do that a few different times because surfing just gives you so much fulfillment, and like you just feel so complete, which is amazing. Yeah, but there's also another side of that where like certain things in your life can kind of just fall the wayside.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I could stay in this shitty relationship. Like, I get good waves. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, we should surf sometime actually. Make that happen. I'm not even sure where to start. Why don't we start with this book? Everyone, when they come in my house, they see Corey's book and they're like, what's that? And it's like, yeah, a friend of mine, Corey, wrote this book, End Small Talk. So why don't we start with this?
Yeah, I would love to. Also, I just want to express when I am stuck in a conversation having small talk, I start to get a migraine. Mm-hmm. This has been a new development in the energetics of my body, just completely being repulsed by small talk.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
It sucks, but I just. All right.
This is a question for you.
Well, I think it's for both of us.
Okay. Yeah. What are you unapologetically nerdy?
Oh, unapologetically nerdy about?
Yeah, you've had this one?
Yeah, we did this one. So it was my friend's birthday, and we were doing this as a group, and I've already had this one.
Should we go in a different direction?
We can do this one. No. Why don't you go first? Because I already know mine. Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think plants.
Yeah, 100%. I like have these like jars in my kitchen, and she's just like, they have plants on them, and I think it's their Latin name, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you know what those are? And she's like, looks at me like, you know who you're fucking talking to. So I thought that was pretty classic. Okay, yeah, for me, like, yeah, it's kind of like a toss up. Like I feel like swells like is a big thing. Like I'm just like always kind of looking, and like I said though, right now I've been a little bit out of the loop.
Okay, so if you could
but I'm nerdy about swells. Go ahead.
If you could be nerdy about something new, like what's like something that you're not nerdy about that you might want to be nerdy
right now
about?
I'm like pretty nerdy about like yoga and looking up like, because I'm practicing these different series and stuff, and I'm like kind of like wanting to know where these come from, and like just kind of figuring out all these guys studied under like, I'm going to butcher this, but like Patabi Joyce is like the creator of Ashtanga, and it's like a few different series. And then the guys that went to him in the 60s sort of branched off, and like that's sort of where like most yoga in our culture is like stemming from, right? Is that Ashtanga? It's like vinyasa flow, basically. So I've been just tripping out on that stuff because I think that my first ever teacher was in India all the time, and just like really into like the different lineages and the different like schools of thought and spiritual. And so it's sort of important to me to just have like an idea of like what the fuck I'm doing, because I'm feeling my body and spirit, and I'm feeling everything open up and all the sensations and subtle energies, and like, so it's like, whoa, dude, this stuff is magic. What's going on? And I just want to like, you know, trip out. And then the other part is I spent some time going to talks with like a Kriya, just like a Kriya yogi, like basically like from Yogananda's lineage, and just spent time like during discourse and full moon meditations with him. And a couple of my buddies have been devotional with him for devotees for several years and stuff. So like, that's all, you know, the asana, like he's teaching pranayama, he's teaching like pretty much everything else. We're not doing asana, but like everything else. So I've just been a little bit nerdy about that.
Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, behind the asana or the reason of the asana is to actually have a deeper spiritual practice. So you do the movement so then you can be in the stillness. It's the yang to the yin. Like Chinese medicine has a very similar, just different way of going about it. But you have to have like the movement, and the energy needs to move in the body. And the more organized the movement is, then the more organized the chi is, or the prana is in your body. And then the more organized that's flowing in your body, then more peaceful and calm your mind is, happier you are as a human.
Yeah, I've definitely like noticed, I mean, just kind of like directing this back to like the tea and like some of the work you're doing. Do you ever feel that, I mean, I think the certain type of clients that's like seeking either you have an educational platform or actually like your services as healer. Do you think oftentimes like the treatments work better for those who have sort of done some of the work to open those channels and to have that energy flowing freely? And I ask you this because I just become so sensitized to what goes in your body, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
So that, can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, I would say the people that have a lifestyle in which like is very holistic, and then they get a treatment from me to like upgrade their system, or they feel a little off balance and want to find that balance again. It's kind of like we get to press the reset button, or we upgrade the system, or I teach them something that's useful, and then they're going to really implement it into their life. So what they're doing is like creating a new infrastructure of their being. So I'm like helping them recalibrate back to balance, and then they're like, okay, from this is my new baseline now, and so I'm going to grow off of this baseline. But I think what happens with a lot of people that like aren't doing a lot of work, or they're relying on me to be the answer, or they're relying on an herb or a supplement to be the answer, they're just like exposing themselves to this treatment, exposing themselves to this supplement, but they're not actually implementing the balance to actually like change their entire framework of how they operate.
Interesting.
So then like they're just like wanting this thing to like fix,
right
rather than embodying this thing that's going to make them a better version of themselves. So it's like I'm like offering them just like a light to the next step. Yeah.
That's yeah. Okay. I figured that was the case, but like I just kind of had to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
So are you oftentimes like, is that one of your first conversations? Is sort of like, where are you at with just your health in general?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I want to see how the person lives their entire life, like everything from what they do first thing in the morning to what they do last thing before they go to bed, what they eat, what their bowel movements look like everything. It gets really, really specific. And for women, like what their cycle is like, and it's just getting super detail orientated of what's their relationship to their cycle. Is it something that they're ashamed of? Is it something that they like? Is it an invitation for them to go like inward into their body? And somebody's relationship to pain, is it like, you know, are they ignoring it? Is it like creating anger, frustration, or is it creating fear and discouragement? And all of those, for me, it's like I look at the emotions. So all of those emotions revolved around whatever that symptom is very informative to help them come back to balance, or even more so, it's like the symptom is information, and it's your body having a language telling you like, hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. And so I'm helping people listen to the language of their body. Versus like, yeah, some people just have a lot of resistance to listening to the language of their body. So I have a conversation with them like all around how to have a conversation with their body, because I want them to feel empowered in their sovereignty, to feel like oh, I can heal myself.
Okay.
You know?
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Huge. What would you say? I mean, let's back that up, because I want to ask you what people are coming to you for mostly, but I want to back that up a little bit and just sort of ask you, let's just say on like a week to week basis, where is your energy going? Obviously your own practices and your own health, but more so in how you're serving others through this work. Like, where is that energy going right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing a decent chunk of online education, empowering people how to use plants for their own like at-home apothecary. And I teach like a guest lecturer for different people's programs to help people have like exciting relationship with plants, because we've had relationships with plants that's how we've evolved as a species. I mean, it's deeply in our DNA that we used to go around and be like, oh, this plant is for my headache. Oh, this plant is going to help this woman delivering a baby. Like we used to just have this intuitive knowledge based off of hundreds of thousands of years of experience. So I feel like it's only been like the last 100 years we've gotten super disconnected because of the pharmaceutical industry and industrial revolution. So I am like trying to keep that coding in our DNA alive and trying to activate that and reactivate that and help people remember that inside of them, because our relationship to plants is so beyond just having to use plants as like medicine, but also our relationship to the earth, to the soil, to our gut biome, to our bodies. Like the body is the earth. And so there's like, it's a very all-encompassing relationship.
Go off, King.
Yeah. And then I have patients, and my patients see me for a whole slew. I've worked with everything from, emotional trauma all the way to just physical pain.
Okay. Yeah. So hold on a sec. So how is that teaching taking place? Is that your own platform, or what is that like?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do like Instagram reels showcasing different plants.
I know that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. And then I have a plant club, which every month, it's like a book club, but every month we feature a plant. And then I send different emails about the plant, and we meet twice a month to talk about the plant. I talk about people's experiences with the plant. I teach all about the physical, pharmacological to the spiritual aspect of the plant, like too, as well as like if that plant has a history of folklore and mythology, and like why that plant might have a mythological character behind it, and creation stories and stuff, because all of that mythology is kind of informing sort of like a more spiritual, esoteric dynamic of that plant. Okay. And so I like to go into all of that. Also, for me, the body, anything that's happening on the physical level, there's always an emotional root. So if a plant is treating, like, let's say a plant helps with processing digestion and like helping food be digested, it's also going to help you digest life, and it's going to help you be able to chew on something that you're digesting, maybe emotionally, and help process that in the body. Like if it's doing it physically, it's also doing it emotionally, and I like to teach that to people. I
guess the next question would be back to, what are they coming to you for? What are the common?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people come to me for physical, like tension, pain, irregular menstruation, painful menstruation. A lot of men have come to me for ED, erectile dysfunction. I treat one man and help him get a boner. Then the next thing I know, like 30 men come along wanting to fucking get the remedy.
Damn, that's guys are. I guess people are struggling out there.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, that's the reason why the rhinoceros is extinct.
Is it really?
Yeah, or like about to be the white rhinoceros. Yeah, because rhino horn is one of the most powerful, like, just aphrodisiac, like nature's Viagra. And got it. They're like poaching all of the white rhinos because a bunch of men have erectile dysfunction, and there's like a deeper. I mean, herbs.
Wow, I didn't know that. I knew about the rhino at the gas station. That's not actually like rhino though, right?
Hopefully not. I don't know. It should be illegal. I think it is illegal. But
dude, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I don't even want to say the thoughts coming to my head right now, but Okay, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just like a 12-year-old kid right now. You're just talking about boners and like I can't handle it.
Well, it's part of healing. I mean, if we actually think about like the deepest wounds going like why are we like killing people, and why is like this world so fucked up? Like I think that all the people that are out there making really messed up decisions that are compromising the integrity of this planet, compromising the integrity of humanity, there's deep wounds. And whether that is started with them, it might be generational, but usually it's somebody that felt ashamed of themselves and they need to reclaim their power. And they have to do that by sabotaging somebody else's life. And so I think that a lot of the men in power, and this is also my personal experience with a woman that I know that's a dominatrix, and she doms a lot of people in high power political worlds, and they're all like impotent. And it's really interesting to me, you know? So it's like way bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from a society, like,
yeah, I mean, it's something that I feel like actually it's really healthy to talk about. And
for sure.
And it's like men should actually feel way less ashamed, because it's way deeper than like, oh, you're impotent, you're incapable, you're not a man, like let's emasculate you. It's actually like there's like such a deeper, I feel like, calling for men to like reclaim their power. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and it doesn't come with sabotaging somebody else's life or making more money or having more followers. Like there's a deeper calling, I think, right now for the masculine and the feminine. Maybe we could get into all of that.
Yeah, I was actually, I mean, that's probably a pretty good segue, but yeah, I feel like that's a really good point you made, 100%. And like the more I kind of go around and like on my journey and stuff like that, I notice that like, yeah, people are pretty lost and, you know, a little bit scared to stand in their power and a little bit scared to like, you know, be masculine because they're not sure or like stand up for what's right. But we really need that in our society. We really need that. There's definitely a healthier form than kind of the norm right now. But 100%, and we really need to like hold space for our brothers, you know what I mean?
Hold space for the brothers,
100%, because like you look at some of these statistics and like, yeah, it's pretty alarming. Actually, you'd be surprised. You probably know this stuff, but like suicide for men is like almost like 4x for like what it is for like any other group. Like, they're more likely to be incarcerated, just like all these, just so many like crazy stats that you look at. And I think for a lot of the last 5-10 years, it's been a lot about like getting rid of the patriarchy and like kind of pushing men down and their masculinity down. And people seem to be kind of awakening from that and going, wait a second, you know, some of this stuff is pretty sacred and pretty necessary for a divine union, a sacred union, right? Yeah. But yeah, what has your work been like around that? Because I want to definitely be careful not to like come off that as I have a lot of authority. I have like my experience and what I've been feeling. But you talked before we were making the tea, like what's been going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think like part of this is my own personal journey, and I've also witnessed it in somewhat of the collective of just as a woman, I think I needed to deprogram from a lot of societal standards of what beauty is. And yeah, that was influenced probably by the patriarchy and the idea of in order for me to be successful businesswoman, I need to do these things in a very masculine paradigm. And I had to, and even like college and academics is a very masculine paradigm. And so I needed to deprogram from a lot of that. And I feel like my mid-20s and stepping into the role of being a medicine woman and connecting more with plants and herbs, like my femininity started to really kind of shine forward, and I became successful in a very feminine way. And I was like, oh, whoa, the masculine way kind of seems like a scam for me. And then, so I think what started to happen to me on a very subconscious level was like a deep, just like, I don't need the masculine way. I don't need like, fuck patriarchy, fuck men. Like I can do this on my own type of thing. And like, but it's going to be my own way. It's going to be a feminine way. It's going to be a safe way. And it's really worked out for me. And I think I really needed to do that because I went through a phase of like not shaving my armpits and legs and like, and just like, and not brushing my hair and like had some dreadlocks. And like, I just needed to not be beautiful to what society expected of me. And it was really empowering. And then, over the years, I found out that grooming myself makes me feel more beautiful and feminine. But it was like my choice to do that. And so in like the last few months, I've kind of had this like, I've been single for a really long time, and I've just like reflected a lot on like, what does relationship mean to me? What does the masculine mean to me? And this concept of like, I don't need the masculine, I think created a bit of like disparity between me and the masculine. And then what I've realized is like, well, we really need each other. And what's happening with a lot of women becoming very like empowered and sovereign and successful, and women being, is that they're like, oh, I don't need you, and actually my life is really good without you, so you're either going to be additive or not here at all. And like there's sort of this rejection to like to this vulnerability of like, oh, I actually really want like your presence, and more so than like I want a lover to come cuddle me at night and like have sex with me, but more so actually making a man feel like he has like purpose in her life. And that's been like something that I've been kind of like figuring out in my head of I want a man to feel like like my presence is a gift, because I'm creating something very like inspiring, like whether I'm a muse or I'm making them like feel softer, or having them like recognize how beautiful the flowers are, and like they're like, wow, like thank you for bringing me into the presence and into nature. And it's like, how can I bring a man into my field and make him feel like needed, like, oh wow, thank you so much for whatever, like building that, like, or helping me with my car, or like telling me my tire's flat, and like actually really celebrating like the role that like the eye of the masculine and what he sees and his input is. And so yeah, that's been my big journey. And I recently just poured tea for a group of men to just like to do something that feels like very feminine, but then the tea practice is a very masculine tea practice. So it was like this very masculine, feminine, like offering I got to share to a bunch of men. And like we all just sat in silence. And like, I told them afterwards that this was my prayer to let the masculine know, like, I'm here in service and thank you. And your presence is needed, because without the people to pour tea for, there's no one to pour tea for. So yeah, it's a relationship and like a renegotiation too in my body of like any form of rejection, and yeah, like a collective apology. Like I apologize to the world for any time I've emasculated a man, like because I just needed to feel in my power, Yeah, I feel like it's really important for women to feel like they can fully express, and a lot of the like wounding that has happened for me to feel fully expressed is just like, and I'm just speaking this to the public. Why are you making that face?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I'm just like, what are we? Yeah, go ahead. So when a woman feels like fully expressed, sometimes men take that as an invitation, right? For like, and I'm not speaking about you. I'm just saying in general. I know. Like, yeah, and this is what happens, is that like a woman that's fully expressing herself, whether that's sensually or like in an outfit that she feels really good in or anything, like there's just that like, oh, this must be, or she's like dancing in a certain way, and men are like, oh, she's doing that for me, like, or like she must be wearing that outfit, or like she clearly wants attention. And yes, some women do, but like I feel like there's just such a way to approach it with such like maturity, and to where it's not gonna like for me, at a young age, it just discouraged me from like fully expressing myself and wanting to like, cover up my body more and like not dance, and like just, yeah, like created a rigidity in the way I navigated in the world, because I was like, oh, I'm clearly giving men permission to just like be weird with me. There's like a weirdness, Yeah. Yeah. And I, not to like discourage any men. And I also know there's like the other side of that is that a lot of men are too scared to approach women right now. And that's like a lot of the social media influence and lack of like socializing. And we've just gotten so disconnected from how to just like naturally approach somebody. But I feel like you could do it in a tasteful way where it's not like, oh, hey, I noticed you, like, Yo. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just you could do it in like a tasteful way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what would that look like? Like, let's just say, like, let's just run that down. Like, let's just say you were, you know, wearing a nice dress, and you're at, let's just say, for example, you're at the party we met at, and you saw, you know, some cute guy, and we were all dancing, having fun. It was like that 10:30 hour, and you wanted to make yourself available to him. What would you do?
Well, eye contact is a big thing. Eye contact. Then there's like the eye contact, like, oh, I'm dancing and I see you looking at me. I noticed you, but then like I'm going to move on and like focus on my thing. So if a woman's in her zone, it's really obvious she's in her zone. But then she will make eye contact. And if she was like, oh, whoa, I liked what I saw, there'll be like a second look. You know, there's like the one eye contact. Does that make sense? There's not like we just happen to look at each other.
It. Yeah,
but
there's
like an
it's
intentional
body language, it's cues.
Yeah, I would say like clear eye contact and like
yes, I agree. Yeah,
that's a big piece. And then yeah, like approaching. I mean, compliments are nice. I feel like there's something a little bit like, I don't know, just saying something even kind of funny or like comical or something that maybe is a little bit more observational. Like I don't know. It's hard for me to even really imagine, but
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I'm also like the worst person to be talking about this because I fucking like,
you've got your own vibe going on.
I just don't go out, and to like if I do,
You've
I go to
kind of
a friend's house and I know everyone there.
Yeah. I think that men probably feel like comfortable with you, and potentially like I'm not saying they're right for this.
Yeah.
I'm just like speculating of a certain.
I'm inviting.
Yeah, just like you're like kind of the homie, like, you know.
I got homie vibes.
Yeah, you're just like you got homie vibes immediately, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or I don't know.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm a safe space. I'm down for any conversation too.
Oak tree type beat. So what's going on with this? I mean, what's going on with just like you're making these funny like skits on your Instagram and stuff. Like, how's that been? It's
been fun. It's been really natural, really easeful.
Just chilling, just talking to people about herbs and things like that.
Yeah, I just like, I'll honestly, my apothecary is next to my kitchen. I'll be in my kitchen and I'll just sort of hear a whisper coming from a jar. And I like go up to the plant and it's just like,
it's my day today.
It's my day today.
I'm going on the camera.
Yeah.
I'm going on the big screen.
Or I'll make a tea and I'm like, whoa, I need to share about this tea with people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's simple enough.
Simple enough.
Let me ask you this. Athletes, what do you recommend for athletes to do? Guys that skate, guys that surf in the gym a lot, like what should they be doing?
It's a good question.
I know you know this.
Yeah. Well,
this is actually related to the bone I have to pick with you, but we could get to that later.
The bone you have to pick with me. Well, I guess I guess a lot depends on how much you are exerting your energy. Surfers, because they're in cold water, I mean, especially ones in like the Pacific Ocean, I think it's really important to do warming herbs, to be like warming and tonics. So things that are in the like, cordyceps mushrooms are really good for that. They're really warming. They rebuild a lot of the yang. And reishi mushroom, warming, adaptogenic, ashwagandha, maca. So for like men that surf a lot, men that surf a lot, like you're in the cold water, cinnamon is also really good. Like I'm just kind of like, if you get your morning bevy, add some cinnamon.
Really?
In that. Yeah.
Okay. And you don't drink coffee, right?
I sometimes do. I go in and out. I if I am gonna do coffee, I always add like an adaptogenic with it or around it.
Okay.
Because coffee's gonna target like the adrenals a little bit, and coffee's a great medicine. I like coffee, tobacco. Like
you do smoke those rollies, huh?
No, I don't smoke rollies.
Oh, I thought you smoked rollies.
Maybe I did, but no. Now I have a tobacco pipe and I pray with tobacco from the jungle. But tobacco and coffee, and I mean even tea, like green tea. They're all really powerful plants, and that's why they're so popular. That's why they're so consumed. But we've like abused, synthesized, done like really shitty like monoculture farms and like over harvesting and like pesticides. So there's a lot of like garbage coffee and tea and tobacco out there. But then if you actually want to respect those plants and you like actually take in the medicine of those plants, then making sure you get really mindful about who you're consuming from, like getting biodynamic organic coffee and then adding maybe some mushroom powder to it or a little bit of butter to it because some fat is really good to balance it, like the bulletproof kind of style coffee. And then if you're doing tea, you want to be making sure you're getting it from like smaller tea farms and more boutique style tea farms and tea like artisan tea processors. And it makes a big difference. It goes from like you're having like a Dunkin' Donut coffee to like you're having actually like a cup of medicine. And if I have a lot of stuff on my to-do list, coffee is such a good ally, like because I don't drink it that much and I drink really high quality coffee. I drink coffee and like get everything done. Yeah, I use it as like medicine because they are medicine.
Yeah, I mean, I did visit Nadia at her house once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when we had like tea and I wanted to do this interview in front of her herb wall. It's like, I don't know, what would you say, like a 30-foot long wall of just you know, rows of jars of herbs. It's just honestly like nothing you've ever seen before. It feels like you're in, you know, like an old Pirates of the Caribbean movie and like some weird gypsy is like making you like a potion, basically.
Sounds about right. Like a pirate did help me build it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like nothing I've ever seen before, and but she does have a big house with some roommates, so we decided to be here with the quiet and my little shelf with no tea on it.
Yeah, we could get you some tea.
I would be great. Yeah, that would be awesome. Are we gonna talk about that thing or no?
Oh, wow. How?
I mean, it's like kind of dumb. Like, it's like kind of dumb. No. But we met and we were like, oh, we're going to hang out. And then you were like, I'm going to fix your knee because I just tore my MCL. That's right. Do you remember that? Yeah. And I was so stoked. I was like, yeah, Nadia's going to fix my knee. And then you invited me to your birthday or something. And so your birthday's in December. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, and then I was, I was with Matt all day, who I came to your sister's party with. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I just totally bailed and didn't come to your birthday. And then, I mean, I just met you, like, I think the day before or something, which was great. Thank you for inviting me. Like, was it fun? Oh, it was? You said it was, yeah. It's great. But then I was like, oh, so sick. I met this girl. She's going to, like, heal my knee and, like, yeah, we're going to kick it. And then, never happened. Yeah, I was like, kind of like calling you a few times, like, what's up with that? What?
Yeah, well, one thing is that starting around December and it like, I'm just kind of on the other side of it. I started dealing with like serious burnout, doing sessions. So taking on new clients was like not the vibe for me. And I should have just said that instead of getting you stoked on fixing your knee.
I'm going to make you this, balm and
yeah, like, I have all the things. I healed my MCL and then you told me about your MCL and I was like, let's fix our MCL. I was
limping around that party like bad.
I know. I don't know. I just like, I was like, this guy's just some Venice guy with his surfboard and just like maybe a fuck boy and I just don't really got the time or energy for it.
I don't get that from people who experience me but and are close to me, but I get that from
the world.
Yes.
I know.
And it's funny. I laugh because I'm like, damn.
I mean, it's
all good.
I low key feel like someone telling me that I'm the homie. I feel like it's kind of equally of like a stab, like a jab, because
when I just told you the homie like half hour ago?
Yeah. Like, because it's always like, yeah, I'm the homie. Nobody actually ever wants to like date me, you know? It's just like, there is like this energy of like, oh yeah, I'm cool. I know everyone fucking likes me, but like nobody wants to like open their heart with me or like connect with me, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it. Like these people have these perceptions, and I'm like, I'm
For
also
sure.
feel like I'm a fucking incredible woman and partner, you know, in a lot of ways. And
Yeah.
you just got to get, like, you just got to want to, I mean, it's a whole connection and vibe thing, but.
Well, yeah. There's
Yeah.
there's a familiarness to your energy, I guess, is what I'll say.
But it's maybe because we're both from San Diego and surf. I feel like anyone that's
Familiar.
from San Diego is like the homie.
Yo, let's get a burrito and go surf.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just fun to air that out. Like, just
Air
wanted
out.
to hear, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen you for
Months.
yeah, so it's not like,
Since
yeah,
December.
I mean, but like you just kind of like have, I didn't mean that. Yeah, I guess I could see how that came off like that. So
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from your like divinity.
No,
any way.
it's not a way to take you. And you too are like, you know, somebody that has like a soul and is walking in a good way on this planet. And for me to call you a fuckboy is completely insensitive and judgmental. But
yeah,
like,
I mean, I just laugh at this point because it's funny and like it just is what it is. I know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
totally. And I know
and
who
you're
I
saying
am.
that, and I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I love that you're like, dude, I'm like just a gem and like
Right.
amazing, and you know that, you know, and I'm like, I'm looking at you like, yo, this is dope. Like, I love, because it's like, yeah, dude, who gives, if people want to like make these models around like who you are, and that's what I get, you know, tattoo and surfing, and you know, I got a Harley, and just like people just, oh, like, who's this fucking guy? And it's kind of like, then I hit them with some like real deep shit, and they're like, whoa, wait a second, I never expected that, you know, or some compassion or some growth, or
yeah, I'm like the opposite. Everyone looks at me like I'm a crunchy granola, or like, you know, some granola like chick, and then I will have like a shot and a cigarette, and people are like, what?
Actually, yeah, you're like, you said something about being like that hoe or something.
Yeah, I can be a little ratchet.
See, like, you say shit like, yeah, and I'm not like, that's yeah, like, you're just like, yeah,
but I'm saying, can we be all of it all at once?
We sure can.
You know, and I can be an insensitive, judgmental, like, bitch,
sure
but then
can.
also if you come onto my table, like, I'm gonna love you like you're my own child, you know.
Yeah,
and so
for sure,
yeah, it's always like just all of these multifacets of our character and
listen,
being.
There's still a few torn tissues in my MCL.
We can redemption.
You can make it right. You can make it right. So yeah, but I'll have to like come visit you, or we'll go surf or something. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so like, yeah, we caught up a little bit, and you've been kind of like hosting some journeys. You've been taking people on psychedelic journeys.
Yeah.
So tell us first, what is this, psilocybin? Is this mainly psilocybin, or what is this?
Yeah, mainly psilocybin. I mean, I worked at a ketamine clinic for a little while.
Okay.
Where the psychiatrist would administer the ketamine, and I would do like psychosomatic bodywork therapy.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, I want to get
trauma.
into some of that for sure.
Yeah.
That's super crazy.
It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just what's going on? I mean, is it a lot of trauma stuff, like trying to like therapeutic?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I've hosted psilocybin for people in all walks, whether it's somebody that just wants to like blast off and curious and a bit of a psychonaut. I also offer like a hands-on healing session while they're on the medicine. So I'll do kind of like a body work, energy work, acupuncture, and it's really profound.
Yeah.
I feel like something about psychedelics and going in, because everything we store is in the body. Like the mind is sort of holding memories, but we can like do a bunch of talk therapy, right? And like you've done like, okay, let's say you had a shitty dad, right? And you've done like talk therapy for 10 years, and you're just like, okay, like I get it. I forgive my father. I've moved on, whatever. That story might be like forgiven in the mind, but in the body, you still hold that resentment. You still hold that anger. So then when the right trigger comes into your face, whether that's your own father or that's somebody that you like reminds you or behaves in a certain way, unconsciously, you're going to like freak the fuck out. And you're like, oh man, all the thousands of dollars of therapy, what the hell, you know? And it's like, yeah, you got to somatically release it. So I find that body work in general, acupuncture in general, really good at psychosomatically releasing the information, the issues in the tissues. But when you add psychedelics to that, it helps to kind of, to just go into the deeper realms and do the deeper layers of healing. And it can offer a lot of insight too. Or sometimes people have agonizing pain, like chronic shoulder issues, and they don't know why. And then I'm in the psychedelic session, I'm working on their shoulder, and now they're having this memory of this one time, like they're like, mom grabbed them aggressively, you know, in their shoulder. And since then they've been like harboring that feeling of like shame, like, oh my God, I did something wrong. And like the mom like corrected your body. And then like you stored that as a little child. You're so sensitive as a child. So any like little aggressive behavior like that, even someone slamming the door out of anger, like penetrates your tissues, like when you're so young. And so we have to constantly be releasing that stuff. And so I find the work that I do to really be a lot of that, like I call it dredging or purging the body from a lot of that story. And also the psychedelics really good at that too. Yeah. And ketamine is good for like severe trauma, because when you're reliving a trauma, your brain is kind of thinking like your nervous system is basically going back into that moment. Which can be really harsh on the system, and it can be a little bit traumatic, and it could be healing, but a little bit like traumatic. And ketamine's really nice because of the sedative, disassociative qualities to it. You'll relive the memory, but it's actually not. Your nervous system's staying regulated the whole time, which is really healing, to sort of like be soothed like a rocking baby while like somebody is pulling out the trauma, you know, or while you're even releasing the trauma, if you're doing like a talk therapy session.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you something, because I know very much for myself. I mean, it's all in my body. It's all there. Yeah. It's all there. Everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm talking about everything, like not just like, it's all there.
Old stories.
It's all there. But I just wonder, because I know how it feels within me, right? I know how it feels to open up certain areas, and sometimes it takes more than just like physical work. It takes actually some breathing and some mental work and some release.
Yeah, breathwork, yoga
through that. Yeah, exactly. But I kind of wonder, because then there's these other people. For me, it actually comes in injury. It comes in trauma. It comes in tightness, tension. But then I meet people that like they're just, energy is freely moving. They don't even have, let's say, a yoga practice. They don't even have. So I wonder, like, where is it? Because they're so loose and relaxed. Where is it?
And you're saying that these people don't have some sort of practice to cleanse and clear their body.
I guess I'm just wondering how it manifests in the body. Like, even if it, because for me, I kind of know. Yeah. Like injuries.
So it's very musculoskeletal. For a lot of those other people, it might be like, I'm not a very musculoskeletal person. Mine's digestion. It'll show up in my digestion. So they might be like loose and limber, but they might be the type of person that like, you know, has like ridiculous food sensitivities, or maybe they're menstrual, or maybe their lungs, or they're like susceptible to getting sick. It could be more on the organ level. It can show up, pathology can show up for people. Okay. And if it's not now, it'll probably be later in their life. I mean, by the time anyone's 50, if you've been stuffing something for a long time in the body, and some bodies are smart. I will give people that. Like, I know some people that have just been in shape their whole life, and they haven't really dealt with a lot of injuries. They haven't really dealt with a lot of issues, and they didn't really do a lot of interpersonal work or clear their trauma. But usually by 50, you see like a rapid decline in health.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm interested to kind of talk to you more about that. Maybe not right now, but I'm just like, you know, it's just because it's so clear for me, and like I've had to clear so many things like through my body. Yeah. Where I'm like, yeah, I'm all good. I've done this, and then I'll get back and and I'll go to like yoga for a month and I'll be like, whoa, now it's gone, you know, like, and maybe still a little bit lingering somewhere, like, but
yeah, bless that sensitivity. That's information. Like I said, symptoms is the body talking to you. And so the more you're reactive, or your body's reactive to anything that's happening or any information that it wants to release, like, just the more it's going to show up.
Potentially in the nervous system too is where it lives.
Yeah. A lot of people are anxious. And a lot of people don't even know they're anxious. There's just a low grade anxiety constantly there. And then they do something like, you know, MDMA or something. And then finally they're like, oh, whoa. Yeah, like, this is what it could feel like.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just as a general, like, I think people are suffering. I don't think they've always been suffering. I think they're really suffering now more than ever.
Yeah, well,
because of the separation, the lack of like community,
time,
the screens, like
we're in a chronic like low testosterone, which we need.
Too much information.
Yeah, we need testosterone, men and women.
100%.
We need it. Yeah. It's important. And there's all sorts of information around like blue light messing with our hormones, and it's like all of these micro killers, you know, like there's just these things that they're all like these insidious things that we are so unaware of the prolonged effects of, but we also have an insane high rate of infertility.
Yeah, I unplugged my Wi-Fi for you. Straight there. Just unplugged it.
Appreciate it. I actually should be unplugging my Wi-Fi.
It's actually good to unplug, like when you sleep and stuff. Like,
I know.
Yeah, if you can.
But infertility, microplastics. I mean, like all of those main yoga brands that women are wearing, like all up on their body, no underwear, like all up in around their yonis. It's just like sweating in it. Yeah. And then it gets all that information is like translating into the fluids of your body. And so, yeah, eco-conscious fabrics. And I mean, I also think that it's good to like not be overly anxious about it. Like I got a pair of Lululemons. I'm not going to freak out about it. Just wear I just buy like organic underwear.
I've been tripping out about my phone case lately. It feels like it's like sweating out like stuff.
Yeah. I just think that like if it's showing up if you're wondering like, oh, should I turn my Wi-Fi off, or oh, should I wear like eco-conscious fabrics, then you probably the answer to that is yes.
I think it goes back to the sensitivity of it all as well, and like how open is your body, how open is your nervous system, like how settled are you and how in tune you are, because like, dude, like I could eat meat every day like a year ago, and like I don't know, I don't really want to, and it's kind of been certain restaurants have been kind of making me sick.
Yeah, dude, no.
And I'm like, oh, and you know, I was vegan for a long time in my 20s, 3 years.
How'd that go?
It was good until it wasn't. And then I'm starting to realize like it actually isn't like a diet thing. It's more of like a quality of food, and where are you with your body and your spirit and the alignment of it all, and how freely is the energy moving. I think the more freely the energy is moving, the more sensitive you are to the fabrics, the foods, the teas, or whatever. Yeah. And it becomes this whole thing. Yeah. And it's a fucking deep rabbit hole you can go on.
Yeah, but then it's also like
how much the people were paid, what were they thinking about when they were cooking the food and preparing the goods, like, you know about all that stuff too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it goes deep.
Yeah, and the beauty of allowing your sensitivity to just like fully express itself is that then now you can allow that to be your compass in what you're going to choose to eat that day, what you're going to choose to consume that day, who you're going to choose to interact with that day. It starts to just be the navigation system of how you live your life. And
it is the navigation system.
Yeah. And then
100%.
And then it's like
we were talking about this earlier.
It's really important. And then when things come into the picture that are unhealthy or imbalanced, you're just going to know right away. Like you're going to be really aware when something is intersecting into your field that doesn't need to be there. And so then your ability to like assimilate what's yours, what's not yours, what you want, what you don't want. So then you also have to like, you start to build this boundary and barrier that's rooted in like preserving and protecting your energy.
Yes, we were just talking about this, and it's so crazy. And then there's certain things that give you 5x energy, and then there's other things that give you negative 10x, and you're going, oh, what? I just want to do more of that, you know, and I don't ever want to do that. Or unfortunately, sometimes I don't want to see that person anymore.
It's a lot of information. If you come home from your friend's house, or your friend came over and then they left, if you feel really, really tired afterwards, that is a lot of information. And sometimes it's heartbreaking. Sometimes I'm like, man, I really love that person. But okay, now I know they make me really tired when I see them. Like, and I've just sort of curated how I see them and how I experience them. Because I don't want to completely shut them out. But it's like, hey, let's do an hour hike. And like, go do an hour hike, go home and do my thing. You know, I'm not like inviting them to come over and kick it. And like, we're just like.
Be all in your space.
Yeah. Like, hell to the no. Yeah. I'm so protective over that. So I like doing with most people, I like to do very specific in time, exit time, you know? Yeah.
I went to and we'll kind of like wrap up here shortly, but I went to a pretty good talk at Lightning in a Ball this year. I always make it a point to go in and do a little bit of yoga and like not just like rage the whole time.
Yeah, the
and
workshops are great there.
Amazing.
Yeah, the woman who organizes them is.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Have you done one?
No, but
You should definitely do.
I'm like
you
networked
could.
with
You're
all
tapped
those
in with
people.
them. Yeah. I mean, I could totally see you there 100%.
Yeah.
And I thought about Stephanie too, the Sacred Union kind of coach as well. Her work would hit so hard, but I always make it a point to get out of camp in the middle of the day. Everyone always sits around and it's fun to be with your camp, and a really awesome one this year, but like the magic is out there.
Yeah.
The magic is sitting there in the talks and getting some good information.
Totally.
Getting into some yoga, meeting some people from the community. And one of the women looked at her life as a garden, and there's people inside the garden and inside the perimeter and outside the perimeter, and if you're in the perimeter you have to water the garden, right, which is like giving you that 1, 2, 3, 5x energy, whether it was from a wealth, you know, abundant, you know, any kind of value you're adding to each other in a reciprocal way. So you're like growing and then you go over to their garden and you grow their garden together. This whole thing. It sounds like your hour slot hike is an outside perimeter friend.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it was a really way of like looking at things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And she kind of like, you know, went in some, I mean, I got some really good things out of the talk. One of the other things she said was to not get too comfortable with the word friend. Everyone wants to throw around, that's my friend, that's this, that's that. Well, no. What about colleague, associate, business acquaintance?
You got to earn that shit.
Yeah, because everyone's just like, oh, yeah. And also the people in the garden have access to get texted back in a reasonable time. Like, you have to make it a point. You know, you're doing stuff, you're getting texts. Like, some of them you just, I'll get to that. But this is like, you make it a point to openly communicate.
Yeah,
things like that. So that was really interesting. Okay, I gotta ask you about, honestly, your dad. Like, I just feel like that guy's such a legend, honestly. Like, I was tripping when I met him, and I don't want to blow his spot up too much, but like, he was just telling us the funniest stories. And you probably know what I'm talking about. But one of the things he said to me is this like immigrant from Syria, and you know, you don't mind that I share. He's like successful guy, like came here with nothing, and like American dream, full on, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. He's had his rises and falls, but always rises again.
Yeah, and I don't really know the whole story, but like he sat with us together and started dropping these like nuggets of wisdom, and he was so funny to me because he said, I'm like, man, he's like, I'm like, damn, you're just like, look at this guy, like, I don't know, he's just in this sick suit. He said to me and Matt, you know what I do when I go in and like do business in the world? This is what I do. I walk around and I pretend I'm a 6'5", blonde hair, blue eye cowboy from Texas. Yeah. And I go and do my business, and that's who I embody, and like this whole thing, and it's just like cracked me up so much.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Because well, maybe you can unpack that a little bit, like, because that's clearly a philosophy you're familiar with.
Yeah.
You don't have anything. He's not wrong. Why is he not wrong?
Well, he's not wrong in the sense that like expressing that kind of confidence is going to just make you win.
For sure.
And get what you want.
Yeah.
Even if you are a 5'8"
dude,
tan Middle Eastern man.
Yeah, like full on
dark,
the furthest thing from 6'4" blonde hair cowboy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really interesting. I was like, damn, what a savage. And that was some really good advice from someone who's like obviously came from absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, my dad's like a bit of like Lil Wayne, you know, like if you talk to Lil Wayne about like, you know, just black oppression, he's just like, fuck that, you know, like I look at me, like I made it, here I am. And my dad very much has that quality and characteristic. Like he looks at like he could look at probably so many things in his life from the perspective of like people being racist or treating him a different way because he has a thick accent, but he's just like, no, he refuses for that story to exist.
Interesting.
And so he wants to be in sort of the framework of like, I'm celebrated, I'm loved, I have like something to offer. That's all that matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, it was powerful for me. You know, our teachers are walking amongst us every day. Every day. You know, and you can choose to, you know, be shown things, or you can choose to ignore them, you know?
Yeah.
But that definitely stuck with me. I was like, yo, this dude's just a boss, and this is good information. So, anyways, Dr. Bones, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything you want to leave someone with, or like if they're interested in herbs, if they're interested in just like opening themselves up, or just? I
mean, I do an herbalism mentorship. Okay. If people want to dive deeper, but just follow me on Instagram and you'll start learning about plants and see what everything is that I have to offer. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Actually, go ahead.
I think that's it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, follow her on Instagram, Dr. Bones, Dr._Bones.
Dr. Like Bones _. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I actually have a plant that I want you to look at. I think I have some bugs.
Okay. I don't know that much about like house plants and their survival. Shit. You know, I know about plants in the wild.
I feel like someone was going to help me. It's not you.
I don't know if I'm the one. Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I could like forage. We could go foraging.
Okay, sweet. We're going to go forage. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much. You know where to find Nadia, you guys, on Instagram. Super happy. Thanks so much for coming out. I was like really excited to deep. Catch up. Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be it. Peace. Boom.